Hello everybody, welcome back to Hidden Harvest. It has been a long time since I have posted a video, but today is the start of a brand new year. I will be honest, I might have bit off more than I could chew towards the end of the season last year, but we will get to all of that in just a minute. I am here to talk about 5 things you need to do in order to start gardening in 2026. This is your foolproof plan to getting a garden going. Now, depending on how well you do it, how much experience you have as to whether or not the garden is going to be successful is entirely up to you and how much you want to put into it. Plus, some things can only be learned via experience, as I have found out this last year. I overseeded, overplanted over a lot of things. I messed up a whole lot of things this year. So let's go ahead and get to this list. Number 1, I would recommend anybody who wishes to start a garden, start a journal. And I don't mean get yourself a 3-ring binder and start keeping different tabs of different things. I mean a flow of consciousness type of thing. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times people who garden tend to also be a little bit on the OCD side, like they want the garden to look the way they want it to, they want things to sit how they're supposed to, that chances are this would extend to your other parts of your life as well, in which case, what I recommend is a stream of consciousness. Now, what exactly is a stream of consciousness journal? It's basically write it down. Don't try to word it properly. Don't worry about if your syntax is correct. Don't worry about whether or not you ended your sentence off with a preposition. Don't worry about any of the English. Don't worry about the spelling. None of that. Worry about none of it. The point is to write it down so you remember the dates and what happened. I have got my journal from last year, and it has actually served me pretty well because I couldn't really tear anything out of this without it looking weird, which would have bothered me more than just messing up a sheet of paper. I journaled all the way through the year. There was a couple of times where I would take, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 weeks off, but then I would go back and recap what I had done with the approximate dates. But in this journal, I actually have the dates I started my seeds. Now, how does that help me this year with this year's journal? It tells me when I started them last year and do I need to start them earlier or later. Which seeds germinated, which seeds did not germinate, which ones survived the transplant, which ones did not. The whole 9 yards, they're all listed here. Plus, when I was unsure about certain things, I wrote a lot of research into this as well. And I have already started my journaling process. I started on the 11th, but I haven't actually done very much, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to be starting seeds soon. That's going to go in here. When I started my seeds, all of that stuff is going to go in here. And which seeds germinated, when my new orders are coming in, the seeds that I have done research on. I have already started some research. They're just not in here. They're actually at the end of this book, 2025 will go inside this one, and I'll probably put both bits of information in both of these as like a transitory thing in case I have questions the following year, just to cover all of my bases. Number 2, I've got written down as planning and sketching. Up on the screen right now, I have my plan for last year's garden, and some of it did work, some of it did not work. Some things wound up where they were supposed to, and some things did not. Whenever I say plan and sketch in your garden, this is kind of what I mean, like actually draw your plans out, what's going to go into each bed, remember which way the sun comes up, the sun goes down, which one is your south facing area, anything else like that. Right now we have, we now have a garden sitting right, hold on, right here below the chicken coop. The chicken coop has been expanded since last year, so there's actually an exterior area for the chickens to run more. And I have a coop side bed, I guess you could call it, down here at the bottom that'll have to be expanded on, so even this plan has to change. So each and every year there should be a brand new plan, new strategies sketched in, the whole 9 yards. So that's step 2 of making sure that 2026 is ready to go, because honestly, the wintertime when you can't do a whole lot outdoors is probably the best time to plan and to do our step 3, which is research. Not the funnest part of gardening, but you never know, because you could find like the next best item to go into your garden, your next favorite thing to go into your garden with a bit of research. You could also find things that you completely, absolutely, 100% never want to grow again. This year, my goal is to find tomatoes that can stand our summers. That is my main goal. There's not a tomato really that will last the entire summer, but my goal is to find the longest lasting tomato. That's what my research is going to be this year. So let me know down in the comment section below, what is your research going to be? Because there should always be at least one thing that you might want to add to, change, or whatever. Do you want to try a different type of cucumber? Do you want to try a different type of tomato? Have you grown the same thing several times and every single time it's kind of, it does okay, but I wonder if there's something that could do even better. That type of research would be awesome. Also, researching when the plants that you already know that you are growing, is there a way to get them started earlier? Would it actually do better to wait till later? Such as, I've got a bad tendency of planting my squash way too soon, and I'm talking about my winter squash. I plant those way too early and they struggle during the first part of the year, and they really don't need to. I could wait a while to put those in. So that's what I'm talking about. And then, order. One of my favorite things during the season is to curl up underneath my little electric blanket right here with a seed catalog and just peruse. And after the perusal, I will order a couple because, I don't want to go crazy with it or anything. But it's always fun ordering seeds and getting new stuff. Remember, though, in the midst of ordering, go through your seeds that you currently have and get rid of any that have already expired. It's not that the seeds wholeheartedly won't grow. So when you go to get rid of them, try to grow them. Put those like in the front section and say, this year I'm going to grow these. Just make sure you overseed those particular ones. I would definitely say this is the season as your number 4 is to go ahead and order your seeds. Do not wait until springtime. First off, if you wait until springtime to order, chances are the seeds are going to already be sold out. Because in nearly every location, not all, but nearly every location, seeds should be started. A lot of the herbs and perennial flowers and things like that need to be started around 8 to 10 weeks before your last frost date. Before your last frost date, they need to be started. Then some other plants like the spicy peppers and your peppers and stuff like that, that's like 6 to 8 weeks instead of 8 to 10. I think I said 8 to 10. 8 to 10 weeks, and then 6 to 8 weeks. And then other ones need to be started out at like 4 to 6 weeks. And then you've got like your squashes, like your cucumbers or something like that, that can be started about 2 or so weeks before your frost date. So in essence, all of your seeds need to be started before spring really arrives. If you don't, you're probably going to be running behind and trying to put seeds in whenever the season has already kicked off. Pests are coming in, it starts to get too hot, especially if you're wanting to start spring crops, because things like broccoli, like other plants like that, if you try to start them in springtime, if you start them as soon as your frost date is over, it is already too late to start them. You can still go get starts from the store, and I say by all means go get starts from the store. Try to do it as economically as possible. Always go for the container that's got more than one plant in it and divide them up when you get home. That is if the plant does not mind its roots being disturbed. Squashes don't really care for their roots to be disturbed, so you can't do that with that. But you can do it with like bell peppers and stuff. I did a whole bunch of that last year. Number 5 is going to be the big one. The one that is actually going to make it to where you are a gardener in 2026. Start your seeds. It's basically is what I'm saying. But in my area, I should already have started any spring crops that I plan on starting again since the fall. If I want to do broccoli, I need to go ahead and get them started. If I want cauliflower, I need to go ahead and get them started. Cabbages would be first. Then in a couple of weeks after that, you would start your broccolis. A couple of weeks after that, you would probably start your hot peppers. And a couple of weeks after that, you would start in on your peppers. And then a couple of weeks after that, you'd probably start your tomatoes. Something like that. But the only way you're going to know whether or not your timing is correct is, first off, try to find people that are around your area, find out when they're starting their plants. There's a lot of content creators out there who start their seeds at certain times, see where they are on the map in relation to where you are. Remember that you also have your own little microbiome. It might be colder in your specific location, like higher altitudes or something like that. So be mindful of that. That's kind of where the journaling part comes in. I would definitely say start your journal early and keep it going throughout the entire year. Even if you're tired, jot something down. The date, and I harvested such and such, or the date and this plant failed. The date and the pickle worm got my cucumber again. The date and this chicken got out and ate it. Don't plant it so close to the chicken coop next time. Not that that's ever happened before, but the journal helps out with a whole lot of that. And like I said, just 5 things to get you started for this next year. And I didn't even start with build a planter or start a planting area or start this, that, or the other. It's mainly start the planning process. And the reason why I say that is even if you don't have your beds ready yet, if you can kind of visualize and decide what it is you want to do, how much food you want to grow, as soon as you know what you want to grow, how much you want to grow, I would aim for half of whatever it is you think, or even a fourth of whatever you think your overall goal is, and start there. I want 8 beds. Okay. So if you're going to, at the end of this thing that we're calling farming, I'm not actually saying end, it doesn't ever actually end, but whenever you're going to say this section of my garden is complete, maybe start with 2 beds and fill up those 2 beds and take care of those 2 beds worth of plants. And I don't know, maybe part of the way through the year, get yourself a couple of little grow bags or something like that to try out a couple of plants that you're thinking about growing the next year in the new beds. Learn to maintain those areas. Maybe even invest in some irrigation or something like that. Get to the point where you're used to bending down, standing up, harvesting, using the harvest, those types of things. So I would say it's not even the beds that I'm talking about as the first 5 steps. That's actually probably like step 6 or 7. I would say probably 7 or 8 actually, is the actual getting the beds. Because the first thing you've got to do is start with a plan, start with an idea, start with actions. I can tell you, as someone who had a small garden whenever she started out and then decided to expand in 1 year, the toll on me and the amount of stuff I probably lost in the garden in this past year because of the absolute craziness that was trying to take care of all of these beds. Was it fun? Did I learn a lot? Yes. Did I feel like at certain points I got too exhausted to be able to maintain certain things or feed certain things or weed certain things or diagnose certain things? I really, really think I could have done better with that. And it's just because my garden has grown so much in such a short time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and end it off here. My next video is going to be me starting seeds. I've already got all of the stuff to go ahead and get my first round of seeds going. So I will see you guys in that episode next time. You have a wonderful day, overnight, and you stay shiny. Bye!